Hey, NAFI instructors and flight instructors out there. I'm back again with my guest, Andy Watson, the author of The Pilot's Guide to Air Traffic Control. If you haven't listened to our podcast episode that we just recorded, I'd encourage you to do that. There's a lot of really cool sort of secrets and tips of, ATC and how pilots should interact and how we should not be afraid of air traffic controllers. Andy's got a lot of great stories in the book that I think that you can learn from. We were just talking, one of the things that we didn't mention previously in the last recording was something specifically applicable to flight instructors, and that is the concept of what flight instructors tend to do when they're practicing maneuvers. We go out and we say, hey, we're going to go to the practice area. We're going to be between this altitude and that altitude. And then we stop listening, right? We hear all of the approaches and different clearances being issued, and that's distracting from our students. So what do some flight instructors do? And I can't say I haven't been guilty of this previously, but you turn the volume down. I'm hoping you don't turn it all the way down, but maybe just a little bit so you can talk a little bit better. Andy, what happens on your end when we do that kind of thing? What should we know?
Basically, if when that happens, and we try to make a traffic call, or we're trying to reach you for some reason, typically because of traffic reasons. Sometimes it's because of an obstacle out there. I know a lot of times there's like really tall towers you're starting to get a little close to. The local flight instructors should know that and stay away from, but either way, we try to make sure we point it out to them. When they don't respond, then we go into the mode of trying to reach them. And there's not much that we can do. We always try guard. That's one thing I think general aviation pilots tend to ignore, is the suggestion of monitoring guard. Every air traffic facility out there has to monitor guard 121.5. So, and then also the UHFs as well. But that's a great thing for people to get in the habit of always monitoring guard. So the flight instructor, so we will always start trying to reach them on guard, and that tends to be the only way of trying to get in touch with them. But of course, we have to notify the supervisor and go through a whole rigmarole of things, just because that one individual decided to turn their volume down. So it creates a lot of work for us if during that time we were trying to get in contact with you. Mm-hmm. So if you got the flight following, which I highly recommend, that's in the book, I talk about how ATC has saved me as a pilot more than once for several reasons. So when I fly VFR, I always talk to air traffic if I can, but always make sure you leave the volume up enough to where if we're calling you, that you're not creating more work for the controllers behind the scenes because you don't hear us.
If I turn that volume down and I realize 10 minutes later that, oops, I turned it down a little bit too far, is there anything that I can say to sort of smooth things out with you guys so that I maybe kind of don't embarrass myself as badly?
It probably goes a long way just saying, hey, it looks like we're having problems with our volume here. Can you hear me fine now? And apologize, just straight up apologize and own it, and that'll be the end of it. But yeah, it seems like when I was working the low altitude sectors, it would probably happen once every 3 months or so.
Okay.
So it's not super common, but common enough that it like I said, it creates work for us. So
sure. Well, there you have it, flight instructors. It's a good tip from ATC. I mean, we certainly know that there are those of us that have done it and probably will do it. So it's just a matter of which bucket you happen to fall into. But try to pay attention. Try to make sure that you're listening to ATC's directions and know that they are out there to help you. So be courteous, be kind, and just be understanding that we all make mistakes and own it. So, Andy, thanks again for sharing that tidbit. Hopefully you'll come back with more, and awesome. We really appreciate it.
Yep, you bet.